Good afternoon. This is the special coverage of the coronavirus crisis using the combined forces of News 5 and Signal TV's 1 News, Radio 5 and 1PH. Daan-daang seafarers ang stranded ngayon sa Maynila matapos abutan ng lockdown bago pa makauwi sa kanilang mga probinsya. Nagbabalita live mula sa Ermita sa Maynila si Gerard de la Peña. Gerard.
Cheryl, problemado nga ang maraming mga seafarers sa kanilang pananatili dito sa NCR dahil stranded sila simula nang ideklara ang enhanced community quarantine sa buong Luzon. Ang mas masakla pa dyan, Cheryl, ay mukhang mas lalo pang haba ang kanilang kalbaryo dahil extended hanggang sa katapusan ng Abril itong ECQ. Daan-daan niyang mga seafarers ang nangangailangan ngayon ng tulong na namamalagi ngayon dito sa Metro Manila. Marami sa mga ito ay namamalagi ngayon sa mga dormitoryo dito sa Ermita at ang iba naman ay sa Pasay City. Ang iba sa kanila ay dumating sa bansa matapos ang kontrata pero inabutan ng ECQ sa NCR bago pa man makauwi sa probinsya. Marami rin sa kanila ang galing probinsya at nakahanda na sanang sumakay ng barko pero inabutan din ng lockdown. Ang isang nakausap natin na si Dennis Sevilla may dalang sasakyan pero hindi rin makauwi sa kanyang probinsya sa Naga dahil siguradong maharang din siya sa mga checkpoint. Ang problema nila ngayon, gumagastos sila ng mahigit 200 kada araw sa dormitoryo at gumagastos pa rin para sa pagkain. At ngayong extended ang lockdown hanggang sa katapusan ng Abril, hindi nila alam kung hanggang kailan naaabot ang kanilang pera. Maging ang Overseas Workers Welfare Administration o OWA, wala pa rin daw maipangako sa kanila hanggang sa ngayon. Cheryl, sa ngayon ay hindi pa rin lahat ng mga seafarers na nandito sa Ermita ay naaabutan ng tulong ng OWA. Kaya ang hiling lang nila kung di man sila mapapayagang makabalik sa kanilang mga probinsya ay sana ibigyan sila ng tulong katulad ng pagkain at tulong pampinansyal. Cheryl.
Maraming salamat, Gerard de la Peña. President Duterte assures the public that the government is aggressive to provide facilities for COVID-19 patients. In his Week 2 report to Congress last night, the President said that there are now 55 COVID-19 referral hospitals across the country. He added that more than 2.5 billion pesos of funds have been released to address the initial needs of the hospitals. The President also reported that the Health Department is working round the clock to accredit COVID-19 testing centers. As of now, there are 8 centers accredited by the DOH. 4 are located in Metro Manila, while the others are spread in Baguio, Cebu, Davao, and Iloilo. The National Capital Region Police Office says its force is ready for the extension of the enhanced community quarantine to April 30. NCRPO Chief Police Major General Debold Sina says they are now studying the possible need for utilizing reserve forces on top of the 26,000 cops currently deployed in Metro Manila. He says the NCRPO has not changed deployment and augmented cops from other PNP units to man checkpoints. Meanwhile, Sinas also reminds the public that individuals are still urged to stay at home during the Holy Week. He advises the public to strictly wear face masks when going out of their homes. Muling pinatunayan ni Miss Universe 2015 Pia Wurtzbach na siya ay confidently beautiful with a heart. Sa kanyang Instagram, ibinahagi ni Pia na nakalikom siya ng higit 11,000 face mask mula sa inumpisahan niyang donation drive. Aabot daw sa 12 ospital ang makikinabang sa mga natanggap niyang face mask. Kaya naman, labis ang kanyang pasasalamat sa lahat ng nag-abot ng tulong para sa mga frontliner. We'll continue the discussion over at 1 News, 1PH, and Radio 5. For now, that's the latest on the COVID-19 pandemic. For News 5, I'm Cheryl Cosim. We are 1 News.
Good afternoon, I'm Danny Laurel reporting to you on the markets and the economy live from my home here in Muntinlupa. The headlines and what you need to know this morning. So we all know na yung big news of the day is na i-extend ang enhanced community quarantine hanggang April 30. Pero marami pang ibang balita na kailangan nating pag-usapan. First of all, March inflation coming in at 2.5%. Mas mataas ito than what analysts had been expecting at 2.3%, but still well within the range ng Bangko Sentral. And also, related to this, Central Bank Governor Ben Diokno, sinasabi niya that he is open to off-cycle rate cuts. Now, this may bode well for a banking industry that has gotten na naman another, let's say, flags of some risks na baka at risk ang ating banking sector, the latest being from Standard and Poor's. Now, you've also got the government's fiscal balance. So, ito yung difference between ano yung ginagastos ng gobyerno at yung nakokolekta nila galing sa taxes. This is swinging into a deficit for the month of February. You've also got the central bank flagging the fact na yung remittances ay baka bumaba this year. Finally, markets, however, another chance to celebrate dahil this is a second day in the green for this week. We closed at 5,650.01. That is up by 1.4%. And finally, on the corporate side, there is Voyager. They own, of course, PayMaya. They got a $120 million capital injection. So let's kick off and go through this news together. First of all, from the economic front. So, yung pagtaas ng bilihin sa month ng March ay 2.5%. So, mas mahal ng 2.5% compared sa last year's March print. And as I mentioned, mas mataas ito sa ina-expect ng mga analysts na sinurvey ng business world. But still, mas mababa compared to what we've seen in previous months. So, ano yung bumaba na mga presyo? First of all, alcoholic beverages. Mas mababa yung pagtaas ng presyo nila. Tobacco na rin. And finally, transport cost bumaba. We've seen na yung presyo ng oil, ng langis ay bumababa. And because of that, yung transport prices bumaba na rin. And now, Central Bank Governor Ben Diokno is saying na we can expect April to be even slower. And he says that the increase in prices will be lower, especially because of the continuing fall in oil prices, but also, as we've mentioned, the price freeze in basic commodities here, and possibly a zero or near zero increase in utilities. So yung mga kuryente natin, tubig, hopefully hindi ito tataas sa month ng April. Sinasabi niya na dahil sa lower inflation, meron ng space ang Bangko Sentral na baka pwede pa nilang ibaba ang kanilang interest rates for the banks. So he says that because of this development, the BSP has more room for monetary easing. He also says na he's not ruling out the possibility na baka babaan na yung rates even before the next monetary board policy meeting, which is on May 21 pa. So he's considering na pwede na siya mag-act even before May 21. Another option that they have is to minimize or narrow the interest rate corridor. Basically, ang sinasabi niya is when you narrow this, it allows lenders to borrow at cheaper rates from the Bangko Sentral, and if they have some cash, also put it at a higher deposit rate and keep the cash with the central bank. Another thing to be going through is our fiscal balance. So you're gonna be seeing on your screens here. In January, we saw a surplus, and that has swung to a deficit in the month of February. Basically, the revenues or yung taxes na nakuha ng gobyerno went up by 2.4% to 206 billion pesos in the month of February. And that was actually lower than what we've usually seen, lalo na yung non-tax revenues ng government bumaba ng 13%. Pero yung spending mas mataas at 244.4 billion pesos. So that gives us our deficit of 37.6 billion pesos in the month of February. Now, what is going on here? Of course, alam natin na dahil sa lockdown, mas mababa ang mga income ng mga tao, and of course, hindi sila nakapagbayad ng mga tax in this period kung yung mga businesses ay nakasarado. But in the meantime, ang gobyerno ay kailangan pa rin gumastos. In fact, mas mataas pa yung ginagastos nila right now for, the healthcare system, and even not just that, the relief goods For example, they already released 100 billion pesos of the 200 billion pesos cash assistance for the 18 million poorest families. So already more spending than they're actually getting. Now you've got ING's Nikki Mapa, who's of course an economist, saying that he sees this widening even further to as much as 5% of our GDP this year. Security Bank's Dan Rosas expects the same trend, and so far the official budget gap is still within the 3.2% of GDP, but economic managers have projected this to be increasing, lalo na't we might be needing to spend more than we are collecting in this period. Meanwhile, you've got Global Source, so they're another analyst. They are expecting the Philippines to enter into a mild recession this year. What they're expecting is GDP may contract by less than 0.5% this year, but the upside is it could quickly recover in 2021. That is, of course, contingent on if the government acts quickly and can contain the COVID-19 pandemic by the month of June. Now, they also say that on a very, very good scale, we can actually still grow positively by 1 to 2%. But this is of course malayong-malayo dun sa target natin initially at the start of this year, which was from 6.5% to 7.5%. Malayong-malayo na there. They've also mentioned that consumers cannot rely on remittances anymore, especially since marami na rin sa ating mga OFWs ay naapektuhan na dahil sa global slowdown ng growth. So, hindi lang dito sa Pilipinas. In fact, ang Bangko Sentral ay nag-downgrade na ng remittance growth. Dati, inisip nila na ang growth ng remittances this year would be 3%, and now they're looking at around 2%. So, softer growth. But Ben Diokno is still hopeful. Ang sabi niya, ay in the previous crisis, so nung SARS or even the 2008-2009 recession, he's seen the remittances actually quite sticky. So even despite crisis periods, overseas Filipino workers would still send money. So he's still banking on that, na sana marami namang savings ang ating mga kababayan, and that might not be, such a big difference compared to what we've seen before. But you've got some analysts here, economists, for instance, Mike Ricafort ng RCBC. He's saying that the issue is actually a big issue because every 1 percentage point decline sa OFW remittances is about equivalent to $300 million na nawawala sa ating ekonomiya. You've also got Carlo Asuncion, chief economist of Union Bank, saying that the impact of the COVID-19 on remittances might be worse than the BSP is saying or is expecting. Sabi niya, apart from just, countries hit by COVID like Taiwan and China, you've got Italy, for example, the US, and also the oil-based OFWs, of course, that might get hit because of the lower oil prices. Another thing that we might, be watching out for today, another house, this time Standard & Poor's, looking again or flagging risks on the banking sector. So again na naman, this follows Fitch and Moody's downgrading their outlook on our banks. They are seeing slower growth and more bad loans possibly to come. They're actually saying that the credit ratings of corporates and the banks might take a hit, especially the banks that are exposed to tourism and the hospitality industries. Another thing that they are saying is yung region-wide disruptions, especially supply chain, yung mga manufacturing from China, for example, will affect Philippine manufacturing. 10% of the banking loans are exposed to manufacturing. So this is a big issue for them, but they do say that we still have good capital buffers. We actually have a capital adequacy ratio of about 14%. So we still have some space to cushion us in terms of this blow. Now moving on to markets, just going to be opening my Bloomberg terminal for you here. You're going to be seeing on your screens another day of gains. So this our index above 5600, 5650.01. That is after we had already hit bull market territory yesterday. Apart from us, it was a very positive response across the region as well. Overnight, we saw gains in the US above 7%. So a lot of positivity offshore. So hindi lang ang Pilipinas, ay nagiging mas mabuti ang equity markets. Korea and Indonesia, for instance, also entered bull market territory yesterday. Now, bakit ganito? What's driving the optimism? Well, Diversified Securities' Aniceto Pangan is saying that it was because of the death toll, which is appearing to be peaking already. So, hopefully slowing down sometime soon. He cites in particular Italy, France, and New York as some areas kung saan ang death toll ay mukhang nagsuslow down na. And you've also got other issues globally, so a lot pointing out to a better recovery and hopefully us following suit. But we can't rest on our laurels here. Ibig sabihin, there's still of course a lot of risks on the table. May kita natin yan sa fact na you've seen 17 straight days net foreign selling pa rin. So, it means na yung mga investors dito sa Pilipinas, patuloy pa rin silang lumalabas or kinukuha pa rin nila yung cash nila galing sa ating local bourse. So, bali, domestic buyers talaga yung bumibili sa ating markets. If you take a look at our sectors here, medyo mixed pa rin today. So, it's not as if everybody rallied today. You've actually got financials which was ending in the red, down 0.8%. Services then down by 2 and 0.3%. But you've got industrials and properties, holding firms as well, keeping forth and enjoying a second straight day of gains. I'm going to be taking a very quick peek, and you can see that on your screens, which ones are our star performers of the day. And not surprisingly, we're continuing to see the consumer staple plays and the retail players that are very much, still working in this period. As some of our best performers, URC for instance, another day in the green, surging by more than 5%. Jollibee Foods as well, up by 4 and 0.3%. On the other hand, you're going to be seeing the two telcos companies, which are, by the way, the only two companies that are in the green this year to date, PLDT and Globe Telecom being sold off a so maybe some profit taking going on there. Pure Gold as well, which was one of the stock picks, also in the red today. Now, one thing to note, again, Jollibee, the third best performer today, they have a lot of things to say about what's going on in their business. So this is a stock that we've been watching very closely even before this ECQ happened, dahil silang unang naapektuhan because they had to close their stores in China quite immediately, even before the COVID really hit us here dito sa Pilipinas. This from their CFO, Ismael Balaysasay. He says that the Chinese operations have been showing indications or clear indications of recovery. So they're hoping for the same with their business, hindi lang sa China, pero pati na rin sa Singapore, nag-i-improve na rin yung business nila. But still, regardless, they are postponing spending for CAPEX. So they're postponing part of their expansion plans, but they've also said that there's a lot of growth that they've been seeing in the delivery and takeout channels, and they also believe that after this ECQ is lifted, that people will start going back to eating yet again. So they said that even during the time na nag-shut down ang mga stores nila dun sa China, ang delivery business ay nanatiling very, very strong. And delivery is actually 40% ng sales nila doon sa China. Sa Pilipinas naman, the delivery business is now around 50% during the quarantine period. So, interesting nakapag-shift sila from just the physical stores into deliveries. Now, COL Financial is one of the ones very bullish on this stock. Sinasabi nila na lahat ng negative doon sa Jollibee stock ay na-price in na. And it's actually time to be picking up the stock. Some other stocks that they like, other restaurant businesses actually, like Max's and Shakey's. Shakey's also just released their earnings for 2019, and that was up 10% to 923 million pesos. But if you take into consideration some accounting issues, it was actually just up by 2%. But they said that if you take that out, in fact, they saw some growth. Another interesting thing to note is that they had a growth in sales of 11%, even as their same-store sales growth was up by just 1%. They also mentioned at present time, the company is keeping partial delivery and still carrying out some operations. And finally, just one last piece of corporate news. You've actually got, companies having a hard time right now, but you've still got some investors putting their money in. You've got foreign investors putting money in Voyager. Of course, this owns PayMaya. So this PayMaya, which was of course owned by PLDT, had actually sold 50% of the company last in 2018, and now they've received another $120 million investment. So broader fundraising activity, especially as the PayMaya is now being seen to grow, especially in this need for digital services and digital finance in this period. So a lot of things going on today, but as I mentioned, a positive, another stellar day in the green for our local bourse. A lot of things going on the economic front. So hoping for the best and this positive momentum to be continuing. And that is a look into the business day. Today is April 7, 2020, a Tuesday. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Danny Laurel, and we are One News.